this point I will continue the demonstration of the anti-malware suites, beginning with the Spybot Search and Destroy. This is the site you can get it from, and as long as I have Firefox open, this is the address where you can get the sysinternals Process Explorer, which is the program that you've been seeing me use down here in the corner. Just click any one of the download buttons and you can download it to anywhere. It saves it by default into a zip folder, although if you want you can later package it yourself into something else. So next is Spybot. Going to the installers, I have both the installer itself and the most recent updates right next to each other. So beginning with Spybot itself. Spybot has an option that allows you to install a monitor similar to the Outpost security suite. T-Timer supposedly will watch your Windows registry and the other settings, so that if a program tries to change any of the settings without your authorization, it will automatically blacklist or prompt you for any action on that. I prefer not to use it though, because if I want that type of function, I will just use the Outpost security suite. So right now I'm just going to go with the default options for the rest of the areas. I already have it installed as well. I'm not going. Now that it's finished, I'm not going to run it just yet. I'm going to finish and go back to the installers folder, where I will run the Spybot include so that the definition updates will be automatically updated. This way I will not have to wait for the program to start, wait for it to go retrieve the updates itself, and then try to update itself while it's running. When it opens, it will ask me for the default installation folder for Spybot Search and Destroy. It will usually find it on its own, otherwise you can browse to it in wherever you had saved it. So I'm going to choose to install it. Now that it is completed, I'm going to run Spybot Search and Destroy. Now that Spybot is loaded, I can go through its first time tutorial. It will give me the option of creating a registry backup, in which case it will be the same thing as opening the registry editor and choosing to export all, so I'm going to ignore that. I'm also going to ignore the updates because I've already updated it. Immunizing this system, when I click this button, it will be the same as if using the main window itself. I just went down here to immunize, so I'm just going to click that because I'm going to demonstrate that next. Click next here and begin using the program. Right now it is scanning my entire Windows hosts file, which is a file stored in the Windows folder that immunizes a computer against poisoned or malicious websites. Attempting to go to those websites will prevent you, and the host file will redirect you to the machine itself. In this case, you can create a closed loop to deny unauthorized access to malicious websites or anything else. The host file itself can also be edited by the user, although it is a little bit cumbersome to do. I'll be demonstrating a little bit later on how to do that using a little bit more advanced text editor. This right now will immunize a number of files on its own. You can see that it has almost 1.5, over 1,550,000 different definitions or sites that it can authorize or block for you. So once it's done checking through to see whether they've been protected or unprotected, I can choose to immunize or go into other areas of the program. And so it's already been protected. I don't need to immunize it. It came up by default. Now if I go to Search and Destroy and check for problems, it will go through the entire computer's temporary files, internet files, and other places where spyware may be found, and will attempt to find them, and if it finds them, will make a list of the problems here with whatever type of infection it is, and off to the side here we'll have a brief description of each. I'm not going to check for it now because these checks can easily run anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes depending on the size of your computer and the frequency with which you scan. Ideally, you will want to check for problems at least once a week, as well as updating and immunizing your system. Updating itself is a little bit easier to do than Avast is. This one will usually do it by itself on its own. However, you can also do it manually by picking any number of servers worldwide. Doesn't necessarily matter which ones you want, although once you do find the files you can download, you may want the other files, you may not. Doesn't necessarily affect the definitions, which are up here, and you can see that it has a number of different types of ammunition, or immunizations, etc. So I'm going to choose to download those now. Now it already closed the main window behind this one, so once these are done downloading, it's going to apply these changes to its definitions. And since there's a new immunization definitions here, I'm going to check the immunizations again, and it should come up with easily 1,000 or 2 new sites that can be blacklisted to prevent other pieces of malware from attempting to redirect me or connect me there the next time I use the internet. So now I'm going to choose exit. Meanwhile, the program is loading itself again in the background. And now it's back at the main window. I'm going back to immunize. That's going to automatically check for me just by clicking the button over here in the left pane. The unprotected column should have some more. I'm going to choose it to check again now that it's got the new immunization definitions. No changes since the previous time, so this is it for Spybot Search and Destroy. There are other similar spyware searching programs, and we'll be demonstrating those in the next video.